Hey guys, my name is Jonathan Ball. I am a licensed attorney who decided to go to medical school, and I am also an addicted gamer. Problem with this is I have been in school forever and I've had varying challenges with my ability to stay focused and actually do the things I need to, and I would rather be doing any number of other things, usually game related. So through the years, I've had to go through many different styles of studying to figure out ways to keep me from being bored, because I just cannot handle conventional study methods. A go-to method that I have used time and time again is to turn my studying, and in fact my entire life, into a video game. Not just a video game, but a role-playing game, an RPG. As I'm sure you know, a role-playing game, an RPG, has lots of different stats that are attributed to your character. If you're watching Solo Leveling right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every stat matters, and to continue moving up or along in your story, you're gonna have to care about all the little gritty details, all the minor points of your stat development. And again, if you have played a lot of role-playing games, you know that the way to increase your abilities is to grind.
Huh?
You have to spend a lot of time killing low-level enemies or doing quests for the townspeople. It takes a lot of time, but the rewards are really nice. So with that in mind, I actually have 5 tips that will help you connect the dots with me. First things first, which sounds like the most boring part, is to create a study schedule. And by a study schedule, I don't mean get a notebook and just write out what you're doing in the day. Just like an RPG, you need to be able to manage all of the things that you're doing, your quest log, your items, and you need to organize what you're going to do when you go out into the world.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
You need to have dedicated study time, in which case this is not study time, this is preparing to work on your main job skill, which could be medicine, could be law, could be art, something, it could be just a thing you want to develop that you feel like is important. It could be YouTube, but you need to develop a quest log and decide what is my main quest, not only for today, but in my life in general. After you've decided what your main quest is, you need to start issuing time for your side quests. And by that, I mean, what are the other things you're trying to accomplish that bring value to your life? Do you need to develop your strength skill to take on whatever challenges you're going to be dealing with? You might even need to work on your intellect, your stamina, and treat them like non-negotiable quests that they have to be in your log. And you can use a planner or a digital calendar to keep track of your workouts, your assignments, your exams, and other important deadlines. Just like in an RPG, you don't have forever to do things. Some RPGs you do, but in this one you don't, obviously.
Bruh.
And just like in an RPG, you can also include your party members, your friends, your family, other people that need to be on the same page with you, because this is lots of these are group quests. And that kind of leads me on to priority number 2, which is to prioritize the tasks that you have in terms of importance of urgency. The main quest being the most urgent, but that is like an overarching quest, right? Some things could be less important, but you have to get it done by tomorrow or today. And see, in RPGs, you do have main quests and you have side quests, and your main quests should be the critical assignments, major life events like the birth of a child, and exams that will have a significant effect on your grade, but they're usually pretty far in the future and you can plan for them ahead of time. Side quests, however, tend to be more frantic, common, and have shorter time frames, but they still contribute to your overall growth. Some things that make good little side quests are things that come in and out and maybe don't even always go anywhere. They could be things like making a YouTube video, they could be, I don't know, romancing a side character, or figuring out how to shoot a basketball and finally making a team. These things could be little components that you put together that may be for a more major goal, but they're like within the week. And to be clear, I don't mean a side girlfriend, I mean just like a character that is not you. And the way you organize these things in terms of priority is you focus on your main quests and make sure you're putting in all the time you need to get them done, or make sure that you put in enough hours or attributes to make sure that you are going to be able to complete them when the time comes, But just like in an RPG, side quests will actually make your main quests easier, because you'll take what you learn from them and apply them to what your main goal is. To give an example, if you do successfully romance this character, then you'll have an additional member of your party, and that makes everything easier. Number 3 is to break down your study sessions, and this is where people I think struggle the most. Is long study sessions can be overwhelming, like a long boss battle without a healer. See, what I do is I break down my study sessions into small manageable chunks. I usually follow the 25 to 30 minute rule, and then after that time, I set aside a period of like 5 minutes to focus on doing something else other than the task at hand. Remember that these breaks are not like, full-on breaks. They're more disengagements. You're not out of the fight. You don't want to start watching TikTok or doing something that really removes your mind from what you're focused on right now. The other things that are majorly distracting will make it feel like to your brain that there's other things worth doing and you aren't out of the dungeon, and that's why you can't focus on other things. Some approved side things you can do is like listen to some music that helps calm you down or gives you a break. Talk to your fellow party members. Talk to people just walking by, the NPCs. Just say hi to people. Get some energy back. What if you're introverted, extroverted, I don't know. Whatever fuels you, but don't leave combat entirely. I probably cap my dungeons or study sessions to about an hour and a half to 2 hours. At least that's how long I feel like I can stay on one subject at a time. And then after that 2-hour mark, I take a much larger break where I disengage from the whole thing and I leave the dungeon and I go recharge my brain in other ways. Maybe I'll go eat. Maybe I'll go do a different task entirely. Sometimes all I need to recharge is just to do something else I needed to do. But oftentimes, just like in an RPG, you've got to go back to town. You've got to repair your gear. You've got to get supplies after a long outing. And this technique actually has a name. It's the Pomodoro method or something. And this can help you maintain higher energy with avoiding burnout. There was a YouTube video a long time ago where I got this from. There's like an old guy on a stage, millions of views. You'd know it if you saw it. Tip 4 is collaborate with your study squad. Just like in RPGs where you have a group of people, usually with different roles, you often have party members working together to overcome challenges. Now again, usually in these things people have different roles, but that's not totally different than what I think your study group should operate like. First, you guys should function as a team. You should share notes, discuss difficult concepts, and work on group projects together. But if you think you're going to be more of a support player or a support role, you can help others understand the material, teach them, see if they're following, and this in hand will help you learn the material too, kind of through osmosis. Or you can be more of like a tank player who leads the team, leads the group, decides what you're talking about, decides what you're discussing, and takes that kind of leadership and all the front damage. Either way, having a group makes things much easier. It can lead to better accountability if you do it right. And ultimately, I just like being around other people, and it's nice to know that you're diving into something hard together. Tip 5 is like, how do you actually get experience? How do you level up? How do you boost these attributes like your intellect, your stamina, your strength? Well, obviously there's physical things. You work out for strength. Stamina, maybe you do go for a run for an hour. But the things that are hard to figure out how to level up are like wisdom, intellect, the things of your mind. And the way I've found to do that is there's multiple big ways, but there's one core way, which is active recall and spaced repetition, which I'm sure you've read and watched plenty of videos about. And just to be clear, there are quests, aka assignments that you'll have to do that will help you grow. There are dungeons, aka going over homework, or practicing boss fights, which is doing a practice test. These things will all help you develop and grow. But what do you do when you're not doing those things? See, active recall involves testing yourself over a material that you have previously learned. You've gone over, maybe it's the slideshows in your class, and you create flashcards. Sometimes you create practice problems or some sort of self-quiz, and then you reinforce your understanding of those through repeatedly going over the cards. So the name is clear. This is a form of grinding. Spaced repetition is the practice of reviewing information at increasing intervals that help you retain it into your long-term memory. And this is just like grinding low-level enemies that you could easily beat, but you do them one after another, one after another, one after another, until you perfect it. There are lots of apps on your phone that allow you to do this. I've made recommendations in the past, but honestly, I think things like Rimnode are really easy. Having them on your phone means you don't really have an excuse not to do them. But the beauty of this is that you can make it as hard or as easy as you feel like you need it to be. So the session is completely dependent upon you. So there you have it. That's the practical tips I have to gamifying your life, gamifying your study habits. The dedication that you're gonna need is the same as you're gonna need for an RPG. If you have played a game and beaten one, you can pass a class. You can get an A on an exam. You can get into law school or medical school. You can do these things because it's just a matter of whether or not you apply yourself to it. And it's fun because when you gamify something and you start looking at it at a different perspective, you lose all of the stigmatization that your brain has that I hate this, it's sterile, I don't enjoy any of this, I don't like the people. Now you are on a quest, you're growing, you're beating something, and at the end of it, you're following your story to where you're supposed to be, and you're gonna have more resources, strength, and prestige that you didn't have before. And to me, that kind of takes away the awful grind by adding a grind I like. So tell me what you think about these sort of things. What ways do you grind? What ways makes you feel like you can take on challenges better? Feel free to group up with me personally. Join my guild. Subscribe. Tell me how you would upgrade your life. But also, I'm a small channel, so I love reading the things that you think. It makes me happy. I like to see if people comment. But either way, that's all I can think of. So I will see y'all later.